Welcome to the With Series Potential podcast, where we share our journeys breaking into TradPub, how we're leveling up our craft to get there, and spill all the publishing tea along the way.
Hi, I'm Anna Hirsch, writing horror novels.
I'm Ivy T. Woods. I write romantic fantasy.
And I'm Zilla, writing as RJ Hawthorne, and I am also a horror author.
Thank you for joining us for episode 10 of the With Series Potential podcast. This is our season finale. We hope you've had a wonderful season 1. We know we have. Today we are going to be talking about mentorships, but first things first, Anna, what have you been working on for the last week?
I've been diving into, or maybe hesitating at the tip of the diving board, my edits with my agent, first round. Main thing that I have to work on is rewriting my prologue, so I have accomplished not very much on that, but I have been thinking about it and avoiding it quite a bit.
You have not been avoiding it, though. Like, you've been playing with it, you've been brainstorming.
Yeah.
Like,
I've written like one paragraph.
You've been ruminating.
Yes, I've been ruminating. It's just been like, I don't know, it's on paper, it's not a lot because it's like a 1,500 word prologue. That's my one major change I need to make. Everything else is smaller, but it just happens to be my kryptonite, and it's also like, cool, I'm gonna write the most perfect prologue the world has ever seen, no pressure.
But to be fair, like, once you do it, it's gonna kick such major ass for this book, Anna. Like, I'm already imagining it.
Doing it is the problem, but we persist. Yeah. Hopefully.
Beginnings are high stakes, and therefore, like, high pressure. So I feel like this is harder than if you had to, like, rewrite a chapter in the middle.
Exactly, because if it's in the middle, it's like, it's just kind of doing its job, you know? Also, I'm just a lot better at rewriting or writing chapters that are in the middle or the end, literally anything but the beginning. And I was about to say, maybe next episode I'll tell you that I finished the prologue, but next episode will be season 2, so I'd better have finished the prologue by then.
Oh, absolutely, you will.
And then you'll get an editor, and the editor will say, rewrite it again.
Exactly.
And again.
It never ends. Yep.
And Anna will just rewrite this prologue until the end of time.
Yep.
So say we all. Okay, so I think last time I had sent Sculptor out to beta reads. I don't think that's new. Yeah, because that last week was still April. So I had sent Sculptor out to beta reads. I finished my outline for book 2 and a synopsis for book 2, so I have a 2-page synopsis, and then I have a 5,000-word outline that theoretically, if an editor was interested in Sculptor, which, like, hopefully, please, I can then send them that, and they can be like, okay, there is a plan for book 2. It's not just vibes. Benefit of being a planner and a plotter instead of a pantser. So that's done, and that means I am stuck in limbo right now, because I'm waiting for Sculptor edits to come back. I've had one beta finish, and she hated me, which is perfect. That's the reaction I want. I want the readers to hate me. But I'm waiting for all the feedback to come in, because there is the temptation, once you get some feedback, to just go in and start messing with it as the feedback comes in, instead of being good and waiting for it to all come back in, and I'm trying to not do that. I might transfer some comments in to my file, because that's the main thing I do, is I have, like, kind of a master file, and then I'll take all the comments about, like, this is shit, and it's not even this is shit, but, like, you know, how it translates into your author brain is this is shit. I transfer those in just to kind of see if there's, like, multiple people that are having problems with the thing, or if it's just an individual person kind of thing, and then I'll start rewriting. So I might go in and I might start transferring comments over for people that are done, just to kind of save myself the time of doing that at the end, so I can get this edit done faster when it's time. But what I should be working on is starting Shadow Daddy, and that's hard. Starting new projects is hard. And the big thing that I'm having a lot of brain issues with is, number one, tonally, this is so different. This is supposed to be like a satirical comedic fantasy rather than, like, horror. That's just so different. And it's not in the same world as the other books I've written, which means I need to do all the world building from scratch. And it's going to be a little bit more soft magic system, soft world building, just in, like, a little bit more assistant to the villain in level of world building compared to my other book. Just because, again, comedic fantasy, we don't need deep, deep lore about gods and things like that. I just need a kingdom for these sorcerers to have beef in. And I'm trying to figure that stuff out, And what I really need to do is just start writing it and then fix it all in post. And I also need to make a book playlist because I can't write without a book playlist because I classically conditioned myself to write with playlists. So I have one for Undying Summer, I have one for the Sea of Sorrows duology, plus one specifically for Sculptor. And I need to make my new book playlist, which so far seems to be The Witcher and deep male vocalists.
Nice.
I'm here for that. I'm here for the deep male vocalist.
It seems to be the vibe, because like the male main character is kind of like Geralt. It's like Geralt if you put him in the pacifier. So it's just, yeah, that's a little bit the vibe I need, even when it's silly. It's just,
yeah,
love it.
So that's where we're at. Is I'm doing nothing and thinking about things a lot, but
I feel like your brain kind of needs that. You've gone so hard on your other like world, and so like having something that's a little bit lighter. Number one, it's going to reach like a slightly different audience, which I think is probably like good for your brand in the long run. But then also like hopefully it gives you a little bit of a break so that the next one you can kind of go back and do something a little bit harder.
Yeah. And that's kind of what is I've had an idea for. I have things I'm supposed to be writing in this world to eventually get me to the idea that I want to do, but I'm like, ooh, I could write a complete horror with a tragic ending in this world, and I'm ruminating on that and the cast of characters that I want for that, and I think I'm gonna write that next. Ooh. And it's fine. I'm just gonna keep writing standalones in this world until eventually somebody tells me that I'm not allowed to anymore and I have to write an actual series, and it's fine.
Yes, God forbid that you get an actual series. Oh, the horrors.
Oh no, 3-book deal, champagne too bubbly.
Yeah, champagne too bubbly. Aww. Steak too juicy.
Our condolences.
Thoughts and prayers.
I don't know. I wouldn't complain about it. But this does mean that my soul-stealing cannibals will be pushed back another month.
Wait a minute. Oh. I think I need the cannibals. I'm rescinding everything I just said. I want my cannibals.
Cannibal series?
Yeah, I have one where it's like the stalker magic thing, and that one's like a little bit more NA almost. I need to write that one before I can get to the soul-stealing cannibals for anything to make sense. But I promise the new one is like at least as, if not more horrific than the soul-stealing cannibals.
Okay.
I'll just have to believe you, I guess.
I just need soul-stealing cannibals, so hurry up.
Whatever you have to do to get there.
I know. And then for some reason I'm writing Shadow Daddy. For
you.
For reasons. I don't know.
It's fine.
It's fine.
I don't know if it's for me anymore. It was a fun concept, and I gotta follow through. I've talked too much about it to not write it.
I mean, follow the momentum. If you're vibing more with the soul-stealing cannibals and you need to write that faster, I will be happy to read it.
Yes, I'll get there eventually. But like, if I do the radiation poisoning, then that's gonna be 3 books away. Whereas if I do,
you've got this all planned out. What the hell?
My brain does not work like this.
No.
Okay, but here's the thing. Undying Summer was supposed to be a prequel to a series, and I just keep writing other prequels.
Yeah, like
back in time
Samantha
further,
Shannon
and now I'm
style.
Like 500 years farther for some unknown reason, and it's just,
You're gonna be like some George R.R. Martin type author, aren't you?
We talked about this a little bit for the blacksmith daughter stalker one. I don't know. That one needs a name. But I don't have a name yet.
You mean blacksmith daughter stalker is not the name of this book?
How about
Stalker? I barely know her.
Yeah, that one's like the sequel to Undying Summer in terms of the chronology. But where I was starting, it just wasn't vibing, and I need to start somewhere else. And maybe I'll make that like a summer project or something. I don't know if I'm not editing Sculptor for pre-submission or something. We'll see. We'll do it at some point.
Well, it is PTO week over here in the Zilla household, and I am vibing with doing no day job. I have cleaned my house. I've recorded B-roll for YouTube. I read through both of my projects right now. One is like Teddy Bear Whip, and the other one is Girls Will Be Ghouls, which I wasn't sure I was going to share the title, but God, it's a good title, isn't it? And I just want to claim it.
It is.
And I really surprised myself because I thought Teddy Bear was going to be the one I wanted to work on because it was new and shiny, and No, after
Mhm.
reading through it, like I want to go back to my occult, like talk to me comp weirdos at the beach. Like that's what I want. So, yeah, I'm going to be reading a whole bunch this week. I'm going to be writing, just kind of like not no pressure, doing whatever I feel like doing with this book because it is the book that Alex technically greenlit. So, I'm feeling good about that. It's like a successor, not in the same world or anything, but like spiritually to Murder Night. So, yeah. And then can we talk about Jimmy really fast? Because Jimmy has decided, our personal tarot reader and astrologist, who's also on YouTube, he has decided that this is going to be a lucky week. So, am I sitting here like, yes, Alex is going to get me my line edits a month in advance? Yes, I am. I'm absolutely sitting in that space right now, thinking about sub. I know it's all the delusion.
I have absolutely no delusion from Jimmy. On the other side of the Aries coin, I'm like, nothing's happening, so why even bother, Jimmy? Save it for another
Yeah.
week.
Save it for another week. But I mean, if you guys don't follow Jimmy, he basically has told at least the Aries, I haven't watched any of the other ones, that like April is going to be like life changing, and I don't know, I feel like every month
Oh
is life
yeah,
changing for us, but
Yeah.
Libra got that too.
Well, he
yeah.
said for Aries, February, April, and July were big. And February was big for me. So, I don't know. Maybe April, it's Zilla's turn. And then
Yeah,
July will
I'll
be
take
huge
April
for both of
for
us.
both of
Yeah.
us. Book
Yeah.
deals. So yeah.
Yay.
Anyway, what I've been working on is just like no pressure cleaning my house. I bought some plants and I'm eating leftovers from Easter that I made that are delicious, and we're just vibing. We're really just vibing this week.
We love that. We love the vibe.
Oh, I can share one more thing. I was a first reader for Rev Pit this year, and now I'm working on Camp Rev Pit stuff. And since we're talking about mentorships today, like I'm very excited to talk about all things
Hmm.
mentorships. And so I've been working on Camp Rev Pit stuff with my girl Jackie, who is a co-director with me. And yeah, that's been also super fun.
Pipe, pipe. This means you can't be a first reader next year though, because we'll know.
That's fine. Don't care.
You'll be busy, obviously, fulfilling the terms of your 2-book deal by next year.
Yes. Oh, so busy. Deadlines,
Yeah.
edits, covers,
Yes. May we have many
Champagne.
deadlines.
lobster,
Yeah.
steak.
Yeah. Yeah. So that brings us into leveling up, which is Anna this week.
Alrighty. So, this week, what I've been working on for leveling up is coming up with banger first lines, or attempting to.
I'm so
So,
excited for this.
you guys saw some of this in our Discord earlier or
Heated
what is it?
debate.
Yesterday. Yeah, because I wrote up a bunch of different first lines and I just posted them and was like, fight, you know?
And we did.
Yeah, sometimes I don't need a killer first line to get started. Like when I'm in an early draft, I'll just write like it was a dark and stormy night or just something stupid and just kind of continue on, but I just was really struggling with that, so I figured if I come up with a really enticing first line that's going to frame up an interesting scenario, then I can kind of roll from there, and I think that'll make things easier for me. And it did, because we landed on a line that I like, and I was able to write a paragraph. So amazing. But I thought I could go over either, or maybe both, let me know what you think, the evolution of the first line of my manuscript through every draft, and possibly the different first lines that I was considering yesterday, and like
Both.
why I did each of those first lines.
All of the above. I love a first line.
Okay, so maybe to start, let's look at the lines that I was going through yesterday. So I kind of brainstormed like what are different ways that I could approach the first line, and I came up with a bunch of different ideas, and then I just tried to write a line for every one of them. And so what were the scenarios? The first one was I wanted to have something around the banshee keening, because like my book is about a banshee, and the big change I'm making is I'm rewriting the prologue from the banshee's point of view. So that line was, it begins as it always does with the sensation that someone has tied a leather cord around her stomach and is now attempting to pull it between her ribs. Didn't win, but I still like that line and I might work it in later.
I think that's definitely, like, I want it there, but I want it, like, a little bit later down the page.
Yeah, and we'll get to it. So I think I'll have a place for that line. And then the next one I did is actually like the opening lines of the existing first Banshee chapter. And I'm gonna need to revise the opening of that chapter anyways because I'm have her point of view starting earlier. So I was like, maybe we'll just start with those lines. And those are, she has been one with the land for as long as she can remember, but memories are nothing but tangles of light that catch on the branches of trees, fading before she can clutch them in her hands. So that one did not win, but I do like it. The next line that I had was me trying to be like Shirley Jackson, but also because I love Shirley Jackson, but also I wanted a line that like zoomed out before zooming in. And I'll read the original version of this line. In the depths of the forest that lies beyond the house of Murtaugh, yet not so far that the house cannot pull back her leash, there lives a girl and her lady mother. The girl has been dead for a very long time.
God, it's my favorite. It's still my favorite.
Yes, that was the one that won. We did end up tightening it up, which I'll get into later, but I love it. I love the gothic tone and having the twist at the end of the line because it sounds ordinary to start.
You're
like, oh, cute,
I feel like
little girl
it
in the
covers
cottage.
everything that you do. You know what I mean? It's the death, it's the gothic, but like you're paying homage in your own way. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just love this line.
Me too. And it mentions the house, which is like a big theme of it, so gothic right away. Okay, and then there was two more I was considering. The fourth one was just me trying to like get right into the action of the scenario I'm going to set up and bring some creepy vibes. And that is, when the children reach the river's edge, she is already waiting in the trees above. And I like it, but it's not like, I don't know, it's not like super my tone. And the last one was just another attempt at me kind of setting up a situation and then having a twist. The children's babbling voices slip between tree branches like water over river rocks. They do not yet know that one of them will die today. I just don't think it's as interesting as the one that I went with.
Nope. I think the one you went with is almost kind of like what Ivy talks about with like the promise of the premise. Like, it's giving you all of these different things that you are going to like flesh out later.
Deliver on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And I always love to write opening lines that are kind of zoomed out, but I feel like a lot of time the modern market doesn't want that. Like, they want you to get to the chase. So I'm like, okay, I'll give you one sentence that's zoomed out, but then like mic drop, she's dead. That's the twist that will keep you pulling on. So it's kind of my compromise.
I think it's great.
I do love the zoom out start, and it's because I love the Wheel of Time. But like I can't let myself do it because it's so done.
Yeah.
And like already it is just, especially in fantasy where it's like, no, if I do this I'm just trying to be Robert Jordan. And I'm not.
I mean, you can try a little bit, but
I did on early drafts and it was bad.
Okay. So bad. We have to like make concessions of like what isn't working.
So Ivy, like, how do you typically start then? Like, when you go to your first line, like, what's your approach?
Like drafting or
just drafting.
Drafting, I just kind of jump into it and I don't think about the first line too much because I'm gonna fix it on the edit. So like, here, if you want, I can pull some. Okay, so the initial start of chapter 1 was Minna clutched the handrail as the ship smacked into the water, riding a violent dip between waves.
It's immediate setting, it's immediate character and tension because there is that danger looming of the boat rocking, right?
Yeah,
I like that.
Right into the action.
Yeah, I was just like, she's literally walking downstairs to go talk to her dad about things. I went back at the end of the draft and I inserted all the new scenes that I knew I would need. So that included the first one. So the new first line was, the body they found was bloated, thick veins of black running beneath the dark skin, branching out and away from the missing chunk of flesh in the dead man's shoulder.
Fabulous.
Nice.
And then for the beta one, yeah, it didn't really change. The body was bloated, thick veins of black running beneath the sun-dark skin, branching out and away from the missing chunk of flesh in the dead man's shoulder. So, trying to
Love
really
it.
kind of the beginning of my book is very kind of light and fluffy for the first few chapters. Not even like light and fluffy, but
Yeah,
it's
that sounds light and fluffy. Chunks of flesh.
well, like just in terms of the actual things that happen in chapters, because it's like, oh, love
Sure.
interests meeting, and then we have a betrothal ceremony, and we
Right.
have the honor to
So
us
you need
all
a
thing,
reminder of what's to come.
yeah, so it was going
Yeah.
back and being like, what is the payoff of the story? Okay, I need to make sure that there is promise here. So big thing I did was I kind of are in the early chapters was number one, I started it with them finding a body and being like, hey, there's monsters and they are stealing people and killing people. And then throughout the kind of the rest of the chapters, it was a lot of little reminders of that. So like even just the tone as they're walking around their hometown and things like that is there's boarded up windows and people are kind of hurrying through the streets. No one's like lingering to haggle, and it's just the energy is different than it was in the initial draft because it's like I need to up the dark because
Yeah.
the book ends very dark.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Promising the genre. Well, I guess I can go through how the first line of my manuscript evolves through
Mhm.
every draft, just to kind of illustrate how like the different opening scenes changed, how it evolved with my process. So, draft 1 opening line. Ugh, this is very wordy and it's not that great. But I still like it kind of, and this line did survive in a much better form and is now the opening line of chapter 1 because I now have a prologue, but it moved around a bunch. So this was the OG first line of Banshee. The beaten path to Armagh was lush with life, grasses bowing in the wind on either side. But the changing of the seasons was coming as swiftly as the horse I rode, and soon all that surrounded us would be dead. So,
I like it.
dead. I like it too, it's just wordy, but here's the version that's now my first line of chapter 1 that I like a lot better. The path to Armagh was wide and well-traveled, dense grasses bowing in from either side, but winter was near, and soon everything around us would be dead. So it's just more concise.
It's tight.
It's like,
yeah.
it's gloomy, it's mood-setting atmosphere, and we're like, oh, the trees are all dying. Actually, the people are gonna die as well, so foreshadowing.
I thought that was great.
Thank you. So then in draft 2, I wanted to find something that was like a little bit more hooky, melodramatic, and spoke a little bit more to like the whole premise of it, because I am a pantser, so when I started I was like, I don't really know where this is going. So draft 2 opening line. All my life I was tempted by death, and like the sinner I was, I never could resist her sweet voice, even when she came for those I love.
I remember this from pitch events, and it always ate.
Yeah. It did eat. I think it's all right as an opening line. I've improved on it.
I that goes like follows my approach because I always start with internals first. And
Yeah.
instead of like you seem to start with like setting and danger and all of that.
Mhm.
Or, danger with Ivy and like you are like the foreboding. Whereas I always start with like some moody internal.
Yeah, I feel like my first drafts do always start with something external, but then I like to be able to bring in the internal once I know the characters. So then drafts 3 and 4, I had the same first line, it didn't change. And it was kind of an evolution of that draft 2 line, conceptually. And this draft 3 is when I created the prologue. So it took kind of the idea of that draft 2 opening line, and I adjusted it to fit it being a prologue, and I made it better. And that was, I was a boy of 10 when I first saw death, but I'd heard her for years. And I just love,
Great.
I love the simplicity, I love the twist, but I gotta change the prologue, so goodbye line that I like. And then here we go, draft 5, first line. Maybe this will change, maybe I'll send it back to my agent and he'll be like, no, try again. But I like it a lot. In the depths of the forest that lies beyond the house of Murtaugh, there lives a girl and her lady mother. The girl has been dead for a very long time. So,
I mean,
I love it.
Anna, in general, your prose is just so good. Like, I could read any of those lines and be like, yep, give it to me.
What I also like about this line is that it's really setting up for a twist that happens later on in the book, which is that, and I don't think I, like, established this super well, as well as I could have already, so this is something that I want to work on in my edits. is that the Banshee, who is like the girl referred to in this line, has been turned to a Banshee by this like mythical figure that lives in the forest, who we call the Lady. And she thinks that she is her mother, but then like discovers through her memories that she has a real mother who, you know, gave birth to her on Earth and all of that stuff. I don't know why I said on Earth. All of this takes place on Earth, guys. But you know what I mean? Like, not in the spirit realm.
In the mortal world.
Yeah, so by having her call the Lady her mother in the first line, I feel like it properly sets up kind of like the level of gaslighting that she goes through, which I don't think I set up super well before. So I like that aspect of it.
Can I share a first line that I love, though, that I just wrote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
So my teddy bear whip, which is my newest one, it like just literally came to me the day that I turned in my dev edits and I just started writing. And it's like not anything crazy. It's not like Anna Beautiful. It's not like Ivy for like dangerous and all that. But it's so, I think, my style. And it's no one has ever loved her family the way B Holiday loved hers. And it's just like that was what I don't know. It gave me the feels that I wanted, and I hope it survives.
I really like it. I feel the intensity.
And then that goes right into a funeral, right?
Yeah, so that's the mother-in-law in the casket is B Holloway, and they're at a funeral. Yeah, I'm excited to write it eventually, but again, it's gonna have to take a back seat, I think.
The first line I ended up with for Undying Summer actually came from a positivity read where somebody was reading it. They're like, this would be a banger first line, actually. And I'm like, oh, fuck, now I gotta go change it because you're right.
Now that's it.
Yep.
Kind of love when that happens, because then you're like, oh, cool, I didn't even have to have the pressure of trying to come up with the perfect first line. It was just there.
Or you did, but then it was useless because you found a better one later on.
Exactly.
Because this was like from chapter 6. She found it in.
Wow.
I was like, oh shit, okay, well. But it worked. And it's all good, so hooray, hurrah. The big thing about first lines too is like they're nice. It's nice when you have a really nice one, but like they're not that deeply important. Like if your first line is not going to end up in one of those the lists people have of great first lines, it's not going to ruin your book. Like it's nice to set the tone.
People
it's nice
put
to do
a
all
lot
that.
of pressure on it.
Yeah.
But also, I think you should try really hard on your first line.
Yes, you should.
To have a dissenting take. It's worth spending hours on. I did spend probably like 30 minutes to an hour yesterday when I was working on first lines, literally just Googling like best first lines in horror books. And I read a whole bunch of them and thought about what I liked about them. And that's why I tried to pay homage to Shirley Jackson, because like hers kept coming up, and I love her first lines. Specifically, We Have Always Lived in the Castle, which I tried not to plagiarize, but was very much inspired by.
Oh yeah, it definitely gave me We Always Lived in the Castle vibes.
First line's definitely
That's good.
Matter, but I think that especially if you're drafting, they don't matter.
Oh yeah.
They don't matter until you're editing, until you're polishing, and I just if you're somebody trying to write your first book, do not think about your first line at all. Just do what Anna does. It was a dark and stormy night, and then just go. You can fix it later.
Yeah. And then when you're getting ready to query, if you don't have a banger first line at that point, that's when I would spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah. And maybe your betas will help you. And we've established we should all have betas.
Yeah. Or I would say banger first paragraph, because all the pressure doesn't need to be on that first literal sentence.
Yeah.
But like make sure that you're starting off really strong. But again, that can come later. It's worth spending a day to just hunker down and work on only that, but not when you're just starting out.
No.
Yeah, but definitely like read other debut first lines, because it doesn't have to be like this profound, lovely thing. Like it can literally just be voicey. Like it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like I feel like a good first line doesn't mean like literary. It could be still very commercial.
Yep. I think part of it is what is drawing readers to your manuscript. So like for me, there's a lot of, at least for Sculptor, I'm focusing on a lot of the setting, because like it's not in the first line, but first paragraph. Then it's talking about the waves coming in and like sun bleach or salt bleach stuff, and it's just giving a lot of the setting. But like the piratey kind of seafaring thing is a lot of the draw for this manuscript, so it makes sense to kind of emphasize it there and stuff like that. So think about what is drawing readers to your manuscript and how you can kind of immediately ground them in it. because again, first line, first paragraph is it's your first opportunity to talk to the reader, because like the cover is a marketing thing. The blurb or like the back blurb is probably going to be marketing. You might be drafting some of it, but marketing is going to go through it. The first line, paragraph, page is you getting to talk to the reader for the first time.
Yeah, and I would just think about it as it's that first step that pulls the reader into the story. The cover or the blurb or the title or marketing things might be the thing that gets them to pick up the book and look at it. But your first line is just an opportunity to kind of get them into the scene. Doesn't have to be the most profound thing that speaks to the entire premise of your book, as long as it's interesting and it hooks them in to your juicy first scene.
Yep.
Anna, I love this topic. Well done.
It's fun.
Thank you. I love when I'm assigned to leveling up and I actually was working on something instead of just being like, well, I'm sitting here and waiting for publishing. So
waiting on publishing.
It's hard to work on stuff when you're in publishing purgatory and you're waiting on something. It can be hard to
I'm just gonna start calling it WAP, waiting on publishing. We got our WAP.
Oh god,
I love it.
WAP. That's a waiting on publishing. It's waiting on publishing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Alright, so I think that brings us into our main topic of mentorships. So I'm leading this one, which is ironic because I'm the only one who hasn't done mentorship. So I thought that it might be good. So we'll talk about obviously the ones that you two have participated in. I think it would probably be best to start with talking about RevPit, because that was how kind of the three of us met. And then we can kind of go into your individual experiences with mentorship programs and being selected for them. So RevPit is essentially a contest where you submit your manuscript for a developmental edit. There's a bunch of editors. You get to pick 3 to submit to. They do a whole bunch of different stuff through it. So they do the 10 queries, which they will give anonymous feedback on queries and first pages. At the end, they will then email you and tell you if it was about your manuscript or not. They'll do like, this one's not mandatory, but they'll do like RevPit teasers. Well, they'll kind of like anonymously, or not anonymously, but they'll ghost post about manuscripts that they're reading without like identifying what those manuscripts are. But you submit your synopsis, your first 5 pages, your query, and then your full manuscript as well. They don't have like an official long list, short list thing, but a lot of editors do use that designation as they kind of narrow down their stuff. So the 3 of us all participated in RevPit 2025. Anna, what did you find you got out? None of us got selected for the developmental edit, but with that, Anna, what do you think you got out of participating in RevPit this year, even though you did not get selected?
The main thing would be community, because there was so much of that kind of online participation where, they had like post prompts that people could do on Blue Sky for the waiting period. And I think at one point somebody posted that there was a Discord server, and then I joined it because I was like, I don't really know people in the writing community, or like I don't really know people online closely in that way. So I joined it, and that's how I met you guys, which was really cool.
Yeah.
But really the reason that I started entering mentorship programs, and I had entered one before RevPit, I entered Roundtable Mentor, and I also didn't get into that, obviously, was because I had seen that like a lot of authors that I admired had done mentorships, and I also just knew I needed to start putting myself out there and just trying to see what happened. So finding community I didn't expect to happen, but was really cool and awesome.
I think RevPit does a really good job with facilitating that community aspect of it, which again, this is how I made all my trad pub friends, because I had a writing group before then. It was online. A lot of them are more hobby writers or are self-pub writers and things like that, but you really do need that trad pub specific group, I think, to know about publishing tea and things like that. Like, you wouldn't know what agents are flagging without having access to those groups and things like that. So that, I think, for me was the big benefit as well. With RevPit, I got shortlisted by editors. So I was able to have like 2 editor meetings, which I think were good, but when I sent my manuscript for RevPit, I also sent it out to beta readers because I had just finished my big edit. So I don't think I got a lot back from the editing meetings that I wasn't able to get from beta readers. One thing I did like was had one of the meetings be a little bit later in it, so I had fixed my query, or I'd adjusted my query, and I had adjusted my first pages, and I was able to run that by one of the editors and get their advice on whether it had improved. So that was nice in terms of being somebody who sucks at writing query letters. But yeah, I did not get selected for RevPit, but I do think the community was kind of the best thing that came out of it, because again, you do need that trad pub specific community as a writer, just for the business side of things. Zilla?
Yeah, so a little bit different for me just because I've been around a little bit longer than the two of you. So, like, I had my writing community, but my writing community had kind of moved on without me. They'd gotten agented, a lot of them had deals already. And so, for me, going into RevPit, like, it's a big, like, deadline for me every year because I want to be able to submit. So, it's like an accountability thing. But I also got to know like you guys obviously because I joined the Discord, like I wanted to keep up, like commiserate with everybody that wasn't already agented in my group. So finding those new people who were going to be my specific peers in
Your
publishing.
cohort.
Exactly. But I also got to know one of the editors really well and I ended up like working for her like in an internship type role, and that to me was kind of the most important just because like I was selected for 10 queries, but like it was very positive and basically was like, hey, this is working. And like, so I didn't get good critique out of it, specifically because I'd already queried out this book. I already had an R&R for this book. Like, it was my dystopian. So, like, I didn't get selected, but I think it was because I had already been querying and dystopian wasn't like a huge draw. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I got in with one of the editors and she was able to give me like that behind the scenes look at publishing, at what she does. She hooked me up with my agency position, which was fantastic. And it was just a lot about networking that
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't been able to get into myself. So I think that was really helpful because specifically with RevPit, I think they're really, really good at networking and giving back to the community.
Yeah, agree, agree. Do you guys want to talk about roundtable mentorship since you both applied to it? Zilla, that's the one you got, right?
I did not get Roundtable. I got a
Oh,
different one.
okay. I couldn't remember. I never applied to Roundtable Mentor, so I don't know much about it. So RevPit is competing for a developmental edit. What is the result of Roundtable if you get selected for it?
Roundtable is kind of like Smooch Pit that I did in that you're matched with an author
Mm-hmm.
mentor. I think all the authors are trad pub. I could be wrong. I know there's like another mentorship program that has a mix of like trad pub, indie or self-published authors. I think Roundtable is all trad pub. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's like a year long or the better part of a year. So it's definitely like a beefier
Mm-hmm.
mentorship program in terms of timeline.
Yeah. I think mentorship
Yeah,
programs where the mentors are authors is a lot more common.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think with Roundtable, they have a very specific like call to action. So it's like they want these marginalized authors. They're
Mm-hmm.
bringing them to the table, and so I applied obviously and didn't get in. I did get a request for the most recent roundtable because I've applied to two, but I love the fact that it is a little bit more like structured in a way that RevPit's not quite because it is that year. So I wonder how intense it is. But when you look at results, I think Roundtable is very new, whereas RevPit and SmoochPit have been around, I think, a little bit longer. So I'm interested to see if, like, this is year 2 or 3. I think this is year 3. If they start having that success that we've seen in
Mm-hmm.
other mentorships.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't apply to that one, so I don't know much about it. So there are some mentorships that were really big and I think are now defunct, like Pitch Wars is a big one. I don't know much about Pitch Wars. I don't know how long that was or anything, but my understanding is that is no longer running. So what other mentorships? We know Smooch Pet. What was the one you did, Zilla?
I did Right Team Mentorship Program.
That one's still running.
No, it's actually
No?
not running
Okay.
anymore. No.
Whoa.
This is yeah, so I've worked admin for RevPit as well as Right Team Mentorship Program. So I got into Right Team Mentorship Program in 2023
Hmm.
with my very first book. And then the year after, I decided to like try to give back. I volunteered as like their admin person and ended up running like 2 years of the program. Well, I guess did they do it in 2025? Now I can't remember. I don't remember. Anyway, and then I ended up messaging the girl who was like the founder and still doing it, and she wanted to go in a different direction. So we don't have it anymore, which is kind of sad for me because I love doing it. It was really fun to
Yeah.
like be that liaison between the authors and the mentors.
So when you did this one first, so what was it like when you did your mentorship program, Zilla? This was for your first book, I think?
My very first book, my fantasy book. So this is the one where I talked about in the edit letters
Yeah.
episode where I
That's
had like
18
18
thing. Yeah.
pages. It was super fun. The mentors did teasers as they were reading. It was kind of around RevPit. So I applied to both RevPit that year and I applied to this one. I didn't get into RevPit. I did get into Right Team Mentorship Program. And I think the biggest thing was that the author that chose me, Janice, who's incredible, she didn't write fantasy at the time. She had switched from fantasy to romance,
Hmm.
but that was what I was lacking. So I needed that help with my romance because I don't write romance well. I don't know why I ever tried to write romance well.
It was hot.
I mean, yeah, and I just like read ACOTAR, right? So
Yeah.
it's like it was in my head. And I loved Cassian. I just wanted a Cassian himbo to like to read
I love
about.
Cassian.
I think I actually ended up with one of my CPs from that program. We were both in it together. Sierra Branham, her book just came out. Actually, it didn't come out yet, but it was Aardvark early release.
By the time this
And
episode is out, it will be out.
Yes.
yes. And so we're like really close now. We do writing retreats together. So I think the community really is the best thing that comes out of these mentorships. But it also really taught me how to edit because I had no idea what I was doing. I
Hmm.
thought I did. I thought I had read and done all the worksheets and listened to the YouTubes and all of that. But you really don't know until you get someone who has worked with an agent or an editor or,
Hmm.
what have you, that hey, you really have to tear this apart like scene by scene.
Just like drafting, editing really is so individual, and figuring out your process for it
Yeah.
is so individual, but it helps to have kind of other in-depth perspectives so you can kind of see what other people do with it. Okay. So how long was that?
I think the reading period was in May. I think they announced in June. So there was no like showcase or anything. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like open-ended. It was supposed to be at least 4 months.
Okay.
I ended up first querying in January. So
Not bad.
that's how long we worked. Yeah.
All right. So the other one is obviously Anna just finished Smooch Pit, and it clearly got her an agent. Anna, do you want to talk about Smooch Pit a little bit?
Yeah, I would love to. Smooch Pit rocks. I had such a great experience in this mentorship. I feel like I didn't realize I don't like the caliber of the program when I first applied and got in, but I was just super impressed and I felt very taken care of, and there's so many great resources. So Smooch Pit is a romance mentorship program, but you don't have to be writing capital R genre romance. Obviously, I write gothic horror, so romance was a very big theme of my book, and it was a major part of the plot. But I kind of just applied, like Zilla said, using it as a deadline, because that's how I'd always applied to mentorships before. Is with my first book, I think I set my deadline for my second draft revisions for roundtable mentorship, and then I didn't get into that, so I used RevPit as a deadline for my third draft revisions. And then with Smooch Pit, I used that as the deadline for my second draft. So I applied in September. I kind of didn't think I was going to get in. even though I did end up getting a request from a mentor who ended up being my mentor, Kaylee Reed, I was like, I write horror, they're not going to pick me. So I got in about a month after the applications period, which was like mid-October. They announced all of the mentees.
And you were teaching yoga, so we all knew before you.
Oh yeah, I was I was busy, so I got out of my yoga class that I was teaching and had like a bajillion messages on Discord. I was like, whoa, cool, that's me. So how it works is it's all traditionally published authors or authors who are on that pipeline. So maybe they're agented but don't have a publicly announced book deal yet. And each mentor does edits with their mentee, which can kind of range depending on what they think your manuscript needs, what state you're at. I knew people in the program who got in with like the first draft, or people who got in with like a really late draft, people who had to rewrite their entire manuscript versus people who maybe just tweaked a couple scenes. It was super varied. And I think there was a varying level like of experiences with the people who got into the program. So like some people who had been agented before, some people who this was their very first book, really wide range. So the period of Smooch Pit runs from mid-October through the mentorship showcase, which just happened in the middle to end of March. So I think some people were maybe still editing, or they still have more edits to do at this point because everyone's kind of on their different timeline. But I finished up my edits about 2 months before the showcase. I finished them in mid-January, and then I had my mentor kind of give me like the last seal of approval on my last changes. I did 2 rounds of edits. So the first was like a bigger developmental edit, and then the second was like tweaking one scene and then doing some line edits.
Which is kind of similar to what you usually do with an agent.
Yeah, I would say my second round of edits for Smooch Pit is similar scope to the round of edits that I'm doing now for my agent, which is really nice because I was like, well, I just did so many edits for Smooch Pit, I don't want to have to do another huge developmental edit. So fortunately, it all worked out great. So I finished up my revisions, got the approval end of January, and because the showcase at that point was like 2 months out, I felt good with just starting the query early, especially because many agents that rep romance will also rep horror. It's probably not a huge overlap in the Venn diagram, especially because I wanted an agent who not only was like, oh, I want horror because it's hot, but like they have a history with horror. So I started querying early, and I got my first offer in like early to mid-February. So it was all like wrapped up before the showcase, and then obviously I was disqualified from the showcase and I didn't participate in it, which was fine by me. But the showcase thing is really, really cool. I was super impressed by it. I only had a little bit of FOMO, even though I already signed with an agent who I'm like super excited to be with. I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Seeing friends go through it. There's like 80 or 90 agents that they got to attend the showcase.
Agents.
Big agents.
Agents that are not normally open to queries at
No.
all.
Yeah, exactly. Agents who have like cleared their schedule for the next few weeks because they're like, I'm locked in on Smooch Pit manuscripts. There was maybe a few schmagents in there, and the Smooch Pit team that run everything were like, do your own research, vet agents, because they can't really like
No, you can't participate.
gatekeep. Yeah, it's just not like a great look. So they're like, we let any agent who wants to participate, but there's some of them that maybe you should, look up before you send your manuscript to. But I will say, like, there is probably a solid like 75 to 80 agents on that list that are great agents, heavy hitters, and there's a private website where everybody's submissions are posted, which is kind of similar to what you would see in a query. So it's query letter, synopsis, I think the first 5 pages. Yeah. I know some people were kind of editing down their 5 pages in order to get, their big twist that happens at the end of their chapter a little sooner or whatever it is. And then agents could directly comment on submissions on that little private website to request something. And then everybody got their results of how many requests they got and how to send them, and was kind of sending them out from there. At this time, it's April 8th that we're recording this. The Smooch Pit showcase ended, I think, at the very end of March, so it's been like a week or so.
Yeah.
And I know a number of people have already gone vague, meaning that they got an offer like right after the end of the showcase. I'm sure many more are coming because, so many of these agents that we're in Smooch Pit, requested multiple manuscripts, and if one author gets an offer, then they have to kind of drop and read theirs, and maybe delaying whatever offer they put out. But I do think that Smooch Pit does a really good job with setting us up for success. Even though I wasn't a part of the showcase, I absolutely believe that Smooch Pit was really instrumental because I had done the edits that made my manuscript strong. I mean, the big thing that I focused on with Smooch Pit was developing my setting and really fleshing it out, and that was one of the things that my agent said was really well done. So I'm super proud of myself there. And they also have a lot of kind of activities for us to develop different parts of our query package. So we work on our query and synopsis with our mentor, but then there's these other things that you sometimes get asked about when you're querying, like extra comp titles or your intended audience, your one sentence pitch, one paragraph pitch. So we had dates where they would say, okay, today we're workshopping the one sentence pitch. Everybody would like make a thread with their log line, and other people would chime in and critique. So it was a great way to kind of get all of those things squared away so that when I was querying and had those questions come up on query forms, I wasn't just kind of pulling something out of my ass, which is what I usually did. So that helped a lot.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that, you get out of a mentorship is your mentor's experience, because I know
Absolutely.
Kaylee did and mine did too, but like we talked agents, we talked publishing, we talked like what is real and what is like this romanticized version.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that that's also super helpful. And you get this early whisper network. So like I was able, like while I was still a newbie with all of my friends, I was able to be like, okay, let me just ask my mentor really fast. Like she'll know. And I was able to find out a lot of like older things that I had not been able to witness because I was still new that she had been around for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Knowing it's a reliable whisper network as well. Because we've definitely
Yep.
seen before where people just kind of come up with things and you're like, I don't know how accurate that is.
Right. There's the difference between like actual agent bad behavior versus like, I don't like the form rejection I got.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. So, having talked about some existing mentorships and mentorships that you guys have participated in, let's design our ideal mentorship
Oh,
program.
please, God, let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
I know I've already talked to Anna about this a little bit.
We talked about
like,
it in
recently.
the bigger channel, is what
Mhm.
we would make a mentorship to be. So
Can we say what we will, because I am manifesting, like I want to do this
sure,
eventually.
someday we're
Like,
making this mentorship
yes,
program, and this is what it's gonna look like. All right.
yes,
I remember we
yes.
talked about it, and then you fixated on it for a day. You were
Oh, I did.
all right. So let's just start shout out things. What are some ideal things that you would want for our mentorship program? Actually, what is the main focus? What differentiates us from other mentorship programs?
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start. I know we usually go in order, but like I want to jump in here.
Oh, okay.
So I want to be like the other side of the coin from Smooch Pit. Like Smooch Pit is romantic facing. It is sometimes a little bit lighter. But I want to be like that dark fiction. It's fluffy until you get like Anna, right? Like but like it is
Yeah.
mostly like fluffier, lighter, more positive. I want to get that dark, like you need content warnings. Like that's the kind of mentorship that I want to do. Like
Yeah.
I want the cannibalism.
Oh, yeah.
Like give
I
it
mean,
to me.
something we did during Smooch Pit is like one of the mentees started sending out like a snippet word prompt every week. It was super fun. Like you'd search your manuscript and be like, oh, I'm going to send a snippet with the word breathe in it or whatever.
Yep.
And everyone was sharing their like fun romantic scenes, like, oh, we almost kissed, or sometimes it got kind of spicy and I'd be like, and then everybody died of the plague.
Yes. That's what I want.
Yeah, and then our friend Jen was also a horror writer in Smooch Pit, so we were just like the weird goth kids in the corner.
That's okay. At least you were together instead of being alone. But yeah, no, I'm so into the dark stuff because that doesn't really exist, and it is, especially when you're just looking at horror, a smaller piece of the market, but it's so much of it leans into other genres as well. So like I wouldn't be considered horror because I would be considered dark fantasy, but like there's horror elements in there, and I feel like leaning into that would be nice. And it's hard to write things that are actually scary.
It
And
is.
I think that's a cool thing that we could kind of focus on. with that as well.
Anna, what was the title we gave to this? Do you remember?
I forget. It was like Scream Pit or something. We were throwing a bunch around.
We did.
But
I think it was Scream Pit.
Something that I think is a good like mission behind why we would want to do focusing on darker fiction is I feel like dark fantasy and horror and kind of that bubble is one of the parts of publishing that is super like male dominated, but it could be an opportunity to say like we're going to mentor more, you know, marginalized writers into this space that is like not very diverse.
Yep. Because when I was going through my comps with Jenny Chappelli, she was like, these are all guys. And I was like, yeah. She's like, you can't do that. And I was like, crap. So I had an assignment from her that I had to go and read more women. And, you know, thankfully there are, you know, like Rachel Harrison and Saratoga Schaefer, who I'm now obsessed with. But the big leading titles are mostly male. And I would love to get more women, more non-binary, more like trans. Like I would love to see more of that in the current climate.
I've seen some people doing it. There are so many cool ways to kind of lean into the body horror elements when you're leaning into those non-male perspectives. Like if you look at Alien, it's basically just like, what if men could get pregnant horror? Like that's...
I never thought about Alien as MPreg, but you just changed everything for me.
It's a little bit like that. And like that's something that like Soul Stealing Cannibals is, and she's going to be pregnant, they're going to try to eat her baby. That is a uniquely female experience that you do not get from the male thing. And having a trans point of view, you can get a lot of body horror stuff in there that is, I think, very deep and visceral. And like I'm very into underrepresented point of views. And I think that also helps with like a little bit of the freshness in horror when you're looking outside of like Western point of view, or at least Euro Western point of view, and you can bring in cool monsters and stuff. Like that's something that's awesome of what Jen's doing with Gumio is it eats. So like I'm so into that.
Yep. Like non-Western, non-male, non-white, different religions. Like there's so many horrors to explore beyond what white men have been through.
Yes, absolutely.
They're like, oh, the horror of being punched in the balls.
I think pregnancy is the scariest thing ever. So oh gosh.
You should read if you want pregnancy body horror. Oh, you don't? Okay.
That is like the one thing that I'm super not. No, Tradwife did it really well. So I will read it.
Yeah, I'm like partway through it right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got it on Libby. I'm really liking it. I love the biblical angels. I'm a big fan of biblically accurate angels. When I saw that, I was like, oh my god.
But I can't wait. I have to talk to you about this after. But God, it's such a good book. Anyway, yeah, but would we do all like trad pub? Like what would our mentors be like?
I think trad pub would be ideal because if you're looking at indie, there's not the same kind of gatekeepers to getting things on shelves and stuff. And I don't know, I don't really have a lot of indie friends that do dark things. I don't know about you guys, but like all my horror dark friends are trad pub.
Well, I guess if the point is to get more diverse dark fiction on the bookshelves, then trad pub seems like the more like that's the avenue that we would want to take, because there's lots of great indie stuff that is very diverse, but trad pub and like their lead titles is what is super white and super male. Yeah.
And it's really just not what our experience is. Like I don't know anything about, like I know stuff about indie, but like I can't help somebody with that. It's a completely different market and things. What do you mean I don't have to help you with a query letter? This is nonsense. So, okay. Who would we want to get involved? Is it all authors? Do we have agents helping to mentor? Is it one mentor per mentee? Or do we have like author mentor per mentee and then we have a few agents involved? Do we have a showcase at the end? Like
definitely a showcase, but I don't think I want agents involved.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think that can get a little bit murky, and I don't know that I personally would be super comfortable with that.
Yeah, that could potentially be conflicts of interest to have agents involved.
Okay, what if it was like we have a Discord and then we bring agents in to do like a talk or something?
I think I've seen that done. Yeah.
Smooch Pit did something like that. I couldn't attend because it was like during my vague period, and I think I had an offer call that day. So I was like, I will skip the Zoom
Yeah.
AMA with the agent to like have a one-on-one session with an agent. But
Yeah.
it was really cool that they did that, and it was like, you know, it's very separated. It wasn't like the agent was like lurking in the Discord or doing
Yeah.
work with people before they were ready to query, but
As a resource is different.
Yeah. Okay.
having access to like ask those questions, and I think having different events and opportunities for people in the mentorship to learn outside of just whatever they're doing with
Yeah.
their mentor is great.
And I think that's a big
Agreed.
thing that is good about having a mentorship is part of it is getting access to those opportunities that you would not normally have, and access to agents, especially when a lot of us have horror agents that we could hopefully bully into coming to do those things.
Oh, absolutely. Alex, get ready.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, how long should our mentorship be?
Listen, I hate to say it, but like Smooch Pit has got the formula down.
Yeah, I gotta say they really cooked with that.
I think at first it would be like just like follow what Smooch Pit does, change our audience, and then like as we figure out what works for like our niche, we can branch out from there. But
Okay, so Smooch Pit, it was like October, November, December, January, February, March.
Flip the year from Smooch Pit, so our showcase is in October, the spooky months.
Yeah.
which I think is what it needs to be.
I felt like it could have been a little bit shorter. Like when I was in it, I felt like I was done with edits like way before the showcase. However, that was just me. I know there's people who were like still working on their edits up until the showcase or even after it a little bit. But overall, my personal experience aside, I feel like that was a good length of time. It's long enough for you to do like a really solid developmental edit and like maybe even another round.
Yep.
Like Kaylee had said I could even do 3 rounds if I wanted to, but I didn't.
I also think we could give the mentors longer than a month because I think a month is really fast if you're reading a lot of manuscripts. It just depends, right?
Yeah,
That's true.
I think for Right Team Mentorship, they had like a month and a half to read instead of 1 month. And I think we could play around with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So with Smooch Pit, you submitted like your first 10 pages, your synopsis, all that sort of stuff. I applied to Smooch Pit, but then I got an agent offer in the middle of it, so I bowed out of Smooch Pit. Rev Pit, you have the first reader thing where you submit 5 pages and stuff like that. I feel like we would skip first readers and just go straight to like mentors and subbing to mentors. Would we have them submit fulls at the same time so you don't have to request additional material? Because I remember seeing people in Discord getting depressed because nobody was requesting their additional material, and they were seeing other people get additional material requests.
I like the idea of submitting fulls because I got depressed when I applied to Roundtable Mentorship and nobody was requesting my full, and then there was like a Discord set up for... Here's what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't set up an official Discord for everybody who applied to the mentorship program to chat in.
No, they can do that on their own prerogative.
Yeah, I was in like the Discord for Roundtable that they sent out to everyone who applied and was like, check it out. And I was in there a little bit, and you like weren't really supposed to talk about if you got requests or anything like that, but people would find a way around it, and there was like a technical like ask a mod channel, and people would go in there and be like, I have a question about the request I got from agents, and it was like it didn't give me good feelings. And besides, like, we should all have our full prepared to submit to the mentorship anyways. So I liked that with Rev Pit. I think you submit the full off the bat, right? Like, do the first readers read the 5 pages, but everyone's submitting the full?
Yeah, so you submit 2 files. One has, like, the query in the first 5 pages, and then there's also your synopsis, which might be...
Right.
I don't think that's in the first reader package, but there's also a synopsis and a full. So the full is available to the developmental editors, but the first readers get the first 5 pages in the query, I think.
Yeah. I liked getting to live in ignorance about nobody requesting my full.
Yeah.
And then even when I did get a full request for Smooch Pit, I was still like, not gonna get picked. So, I don't know.
I think I could probably argue either way, specifically because like that's so much planning, right? That you have to do, like if you get picked or if you don't, like you've got to figure out what you're doing next.
Yeah.
And I only got a request for Roundtable, and I was like, okay, cool, like I'm actually in the running, I have to actually pay attention to this now. But I don't think that was my experience with my first mentorship. With my first mentorship, I was like freaking out that like all these people were getting requests, and I was one of like the later requests. And I don't know. So like I could go both ways.
But
I don't think the Discord is helpful at that at that point. But yeah.
I think I would like to have the fulls because I don't want to have to be like just for my own time management as a mentor. If I'm vibing something and I want to read it, I don't want to have to email somebody and then have to wait for them to potentially get back to me.
Yep.
Like, I'd rather just have it, and then I don't have to be, like, having those communications back and forth. I think for me, just as a time-saving thing,
And there
I
are
would.
absolutely people who like don't have their full. Like and
Mm-hmm.
I think that it does take away the I don't want to call them liars, but like
Yeah.
the people who aren't done.
I would appreciate knowing that everybody's, like, done.
I'll say one pro to requesting the full is that my mentor Kaylee and I had like a little back and forth
Yeah.
before getting in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. It was just, her sending me an email saying like, I'd love to read this because of XYZ. And then I sent it over. So it was nice that we had that like point of contact beforehand.
Yep.
And I'm sure just like with querying, anyone who's serious is going to like send that full right away. So
Yeah.
that's kind
Sure.
of on them. So I don't think it's like a big make or break. I mean, we're probably getting a little bit into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
But that's my 2 cents.
Still fun.
So,
Yeah.
getting out of that nitty gritty, would we do teasers? Like RevPit does like the 10 queries where it's mandatory. Would we do something like that where mentors have to do like a 10 queries thing? Or will we just be like encouraging teasers?
I mean, I think it's like maybe, to be honest, like I don't like to post, so I just wouldn't. But I think people can if they want.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and see, I would post. I think for Right Team Mentorship Program, like I did encourage the mentors to post just because it kept engagement up. It reminded people like, hey, we're doing this for the community. Like we're here as a resource. So I think like the admin side, it would be nice to have more like visibility there. But
I think that's something RevPit does really well.
Yeah.
Okay, what platform will be hosted on?
I liked how Smooch Pit was like its own private website.
Yeah. Or I mean like even where we're posting, because like they post on Instagram.
I don't know, like whatever the platform is that people are using, it changes all the time.
That's fair.
Yeah, I guess like I don't know, whatever, Instagram, Threads.
We'd probably have to do Instagram and a text one, at least 2.
Yeah, it could be multiple.
I do agree that the individual website is the way to go for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think there's at least one like more informal pitch contest that had it on a private website instead. I think it was Pitch Dis. I didn't.
Yeah, Pitch Dis, I think.
It was either Pitch Dis or DV Pit. I can't remember which one.
Oh, I think DV Pit was Twitter. Pitch Dis, I think that's the one where it like you could submit your pitch through an online form and then there was like a private website and people got like sent the request. But I liked having the website because it kind of takes away the circle jerk of it all. And the comparison as well. Yeah. Like I am so sick of social media pitch contests and I don't really plan on doing any more, even though I know some people do them like to try to find editor interest. I'm just not really interested in it. There's such a time suck, but it's just it's
a popularity contest.
People are like swapping support, which I love the concept of it, but it just feels so hollow.
Not genuine. Yeah.
It's so hard to actually like find stuff and to feel like your posts get seen, and then you're comparing like, oh, this person has 200 likes on their pitch and I only have 67, whatever it is. Sometimes you see like agents commenting publicly being like, send this to me, and then you get FOMO, whatever. So I like how SmoochPit does it, having a private website. They did a fun teaser where everybody who was participating in the showcase, they posted like a graphic kind of like every day leading up to the showcase. That was great because it's like a public place for people to show support. But what agents were perusing was, behind a website password.
Yeah. Which is lovely. Especially in the days of AI scraping, I don't love posting writers writing on us, especially on social media.
True.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of an actual concern that is, but like I feel better having things kind of locked behind the website. We've established before that we would have showcase, we would invite agents. We would do the same thing as Smooch Pit where we don't say no to the sketchy ones, but we'd maybe have our private Discord where we're like, hey, just FYI, please make sure to vet. Any other things we would want to include or think about for our ideal mentorship program?
Well, we already talked about this a little bit with like, would agents be involved before
Mhm.
the showcase and
Yeah.
like having kind of an agent panel? I think more stuff like that would be great. You know, opportunities for mentees to kind of get together and, you know, maybe it's an ask me anything with an agent or with a published author.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just kind of like linking people up and providing more opportunities for people to chat. And so I think there was a good amount of that with Smooch Pit that I really liked, and I felt like the mentees all kind of got closer over the course of the program.
Mhm.
And so I liked that we weren't just in our vacuums totally like working with mentors by ourselves. It was like that for maybe the first month or so, like the Discord wasn't super active,
Yeah.
but as the program went on, we all had lots of opportunities to learn together.
Mhm.
I love that.
I think
There-
it's just really worth applying even if
Mhm.
you don't feel like your manuscript is ready. I mean, maybe especially if you feel like your manuscript isn't ready, because that's the point of the mentorship. But also it's great just for practice and to find community.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of double down, like, Anna and I both got, mentorships, but Ivy didn't. And it doesn't stop you from getting an agent, it just provides more resources for you.
Mhm.
So if you don't get in, like, you just
Yep,
keep moving.
absolutely. I was the only one to not get a mentorship, and I was the first one to get mentioned. So, like,
Absolutely. Yep.
Yep.
I will say that getting shortlisted for RevPit was beneficial because I did get some editor contact through that, which was a way to get second eyes on things from professionals. So, like, it is beneficial, but like, it's not gonna be the end of the world if you don't get a mentorship or anything like that. I think that brings us into publishing tea.
All right, so the tea today we've already kind of talked about. At least the three of us have. But there is a pitch event coming up, and I'm not going to name it. But if you are online at all, like, you will understand that this has been subtweeted a little bit. It has come up. There is a founder of a pitch event who has an agent, I think has a book deal now.
Yep.
Like,
Yes.
she has her own podcast. Like, she's doing very well for herself. But she also runs this kind of big pitch event where I've got an agent likes, and I really loved participating in it. But she posted from the official pitch account that she would be opening up the option for people to pay her to basically make their graphics or their pitches. And it was cheap. It was like $15, but it kind of goes into not only the pay to play aspect of what publishing can lean into that I personally have taken advantage of, and I don't know if you guys have, but it is unfair is not the word I want, but it's the
Unethical.
It's like it's a conflict of
well,
interest
it's
to be like
unethical, it's a conflict of interest,
Yeah.
but it's like also like just
Icky.
I need an educational word, Ivy.
icky.
Yeah, it's icky.
Okay, well, I think the thing is like these like pitch events that are like they're supposed to be free and they're supposed to be like uplifting to people, and yeah, it's not a requirement that you pay to have somebody make your mood board or whatever, but
Mhm.
to be like, I'm running a pitch event, and then to go around and say like, if you don't have a graphic for it, pay me and I'll make you one, is just
And also, are they
I
going
don't
to
like it.
support the ones that are paid and therefore get more eyes?
Mm.
Like, I have a lot of
Yeah.
questions.
And
Yeah.
I think it's worse because it came from the official account.
Well, yeah.
Not like her own private account.
Yeah, and like my
Yeah.
CP makes a lot of my graphics. So like I'm not sitting here saying like don't get help on your graphics. Like do it.
But
But-
help each other for free.
Yeah.
And it's the same with like other stuff, query critiques, beta reads.
Yep.
Like there's people, including the same person, I think, who will get agented and then they'll start charging for things that we've been doing for each other for free for a long
Mhm.
time, such as beta reading and critiquing. And like whether or not like the prices are good or whatever is besides the point. It's that like
Yep.
we should be helping each other out. And I don't think getting agented by itself qualifies us to be, charging for editing services.
Yeah.
Yep.
I say do it for free. Swap with your friends.
Mhm.
You don't have to beta read for everybody, and you probably shouldn't, because then you'd have no time to write.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I can't tell you how many queries I've read, like just
Mhm.
because.
yeah, right, exactly. It's goodwill for the community, and I don't know, there's other ways to make money.
Yeah.
So can we talk a little bit more about like ways that agented or published authors do or do not like let that ladder back down to the querying authors?
Mm.
Because I've seen a take from an agent that says, and I am personally offended by this take,
Mm.
that says agented authors, once they get agented, they do not help the community they came from. And again, I am personally offended by this take. I do not like this agent. I want to kind of talk about like, because I feel like this is a way for an agented author who originally I thought was leaving that ladder down for others and like helping others. It feels like she's pulled it back up with this pay to play.
Yeah. As soon as there's money involved, it's not happening anymore. And I think it's also really telling that the agent in question that we've discussed also is a pay to play thing where they offer absolutely outlandishly priced query first pages, critiques, whatever. No, and I think it's not true. Agented authors do, or published authors do send that ladder back down. And we literally just talked about doing a mentorship program for people that need that ladder sent back down, and that would all be done for free. We have mentorship where that is happening for free. We have all that sort of stuff. So I think her statement is number one, false. We have in our kind of core group of authors, we have people that are not agented at this time and stuff like that as well. And that's completely fine. We still beta read them, we still critique for them, all that sort of stuff. But it's yeah, as soon as money's involved, it's not the same.
Well, I kind of feel like the point of that agent that we discussed, the one who said that agented authors don't send the ladder back down, is she's trying to say agented authors aren't helping you, therefore you should pay me $600 to review your query package, or
Yes.
whatever the prices are.
Something egregious.
But I think there are, I'm sure there's people, there's jerks everywhere.
Mhm.
There's always going to be people who are not helping out the people who are where they once were. But there's lots of authors, not only like recently agented, but like published and super busy authors who do many things. Like, I mean, I think about like the clients that I talk to of the agent I signed with, and also like the other agents who like took time out of their day to talk to me. Like, I talked to a bunch of my agent's clients before I signed with him who are on like super tight deadlines, but they took the time to like write like a really nice email with like answering all my questions. Like, you know, they were there to be a resource for me when I needed help. You know, I've won like a query critique from a published author who did like a giveaway, like just comment on my post and I'll do a query critique. Stuff like that. Like, even if you're busy, like you don't have to help everyone, but it's those little things and kind of being open as a resource in whatever way you're able to do.
And like even this podcast is a little bit a way to send the ladder back down because we're talking about things that don't necessarily affect us anymore. So like talking about querying rules, if we are lucky, knock on wood, we should not have to query again, at least for a very long time. It doesn't benefit us to necessarily be talking about that beyond, like, obviously there is the aspect of having a platform and that being a thing that people are looking for in publishing, like, to be completely frank. But like talking about this is designed to help people that are in that place right now, and we're not getting paid for this. We're doing this because we like talking to each other and we like talking about publishing. All that sort of stuff is, I don't think agented authors don't send the ladder back down. I think it's agented authors maybe don't have the time to help every single person who slides into their DMs, which we have
and that's
seen.
okay.
And we have definitely seen that before with like in our group where there was somebody who was kind of notorious for as soon as somebody got an agent sliding into their DMs, which it's like, again, one of my goals for this year is to be pickier about what beta reads I do because they take up a lot of time. And like, especially if you're doing them right, is they do take up a lot of time. Zilla, I know you're very picky about how much of a manuscript and or you'll look at and things like that as well.
Absolutely.
How many, like, you do query packages, and how many query packages have you signed? Like, it's obscene. And again, nobody's getting paid for that. Nobody's charging money for that. It's just, it's all part of having that author community.
Yeah, and the community is small, especially like the higher you go up this ring. It might seem really big when you're just
Mhm.
starting to query, and I've been in some like absolutely huge Discord groups of aspiring authors of different stages. But then once you kind of, you funnel into maybe getting agented, hopefully getting a book deal, knock on wood, it does get smaller and smaller,
Mhm.
and you never know when somebody's stage is going to change. Anyone who's querying can get an offer like tomorrow, right?
Mhm.
Anyone who's agented could end up being parting ways with their agent. That author who maybe like was in the query trenches a month ago, maybe now is like signing a crazy big book deal because they had a unicorn experience on sub. Like, you just
Mhm.
never know.
Yeah.
And like, I just feel like it doesn't breed goodwill in the community to be like, you're agented, and then the second you're agented, you're charging people for stuff that we do to each other for free. So how's it going to feel when that person who you pissed off because you wanted to charge for query critiques is like,
You want them to blurb you.
exactly, you're asking for a blurb, you're on a
Yeah.
panel with them at a conference. And like, look, people can choose where to give their money. Like, no one's like
Mhm.
forcing you to buy a $15 service or whatever, but it's just the aspect of charging for it, to me, when we're all supposed to be peers together,
Mhm.
is kind of ick. Like, if you want to help people, make a PowerPoint
Yeah.
of like, here's what you can do with your designs. We had a whole
Mhm.
episode on pitch events where I told you my design best practices for free, and I have a degree in this. I think there's also more efficient ways to make money than like,
Mhm.
beta reading and stuff.
And
So like,
Yeah.
it's not really about that.
I want to ask a logistics question too, like about this specific thing. Like, is she gonna read a chapter? Is she just gonna have you tell her? Like,
Mhm.
how good are these pitches going to? You know what? I'm looking
Right.
it up. I'm gonna look up
That's
like, are they even good? I don't know because I like mine. Do I like
Well,
hers?
I think the examples that were posted were all for her own book, so naturally, like, we all know our stories the best. We know what is going to be on it. So, right, I wouldn't want someone else to make like a poster for my book
Mhm.
unless it got sold and made into a movie, and then like Hollywood's making me a poster. I'd be like, yeah, I'll let you guys cook with that. But for
Oh, so
something like
she does
this,
editorial and she's doing this.
Okay.
She's
I feel like it's an ego thing too. And I don't love it. I'm so good that you have to pay me, and I don't love that ego aspect of it.
mhm.
It just
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this a lot. Like, there's a number of writers who sell their querying services, and
I will say exceptions made if it is for a charity event. If you were
that's
selling a
exactly what I was gonna say, because it's for charity, and
exactly.
that's obviously completely different. You're not keeping any of that money.
Uh-huh.
You're donating your time, and it's a way for people to donate to a charity but still
Get
be
something
like,
out
I'm
of it.
getting something out of it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Full exceptions made is if it is for a charity event. That is
Yeah.
not the same at all.
Or if, say, you're someone who is not recently agented, you've been in this business for a long
Hmm.
time, and you do have significant editorial experience. Obviously, that
Yep,
is different.
absolutely. And like I still think that an agent is going to do a better job than an
they
author
have
is.
clarified
Mm.
now. So they did clarify yesterday, and I'm just going to read it word for word so that there's nothing, I'm getting wrong. We want to clarify due to some concern expressed by others. This is an entirely optional service offered by one of our hosts. We encourage you to learn graphic design. It's an incredible skill to have. This service was only offered due to the request of participants, and it is a skill that might not learnable for some within the few days before our next event takes place. You do not need to commission a graphic design service, parentheticals, which is a service that many people provide outside of this event and its hosts. It's optional.
It still should have never been posted from the official.
It doesn't change anything for me because, like, I don't know, you can go on Canva and make a template, but also, this one pitch event is not the end all and be all of querying.
No,
It's kind of just, it's like a fun thing. I did it before. I don't think I got any agent likes.
no,
And
me
I am
neither.
good at graphic design, so it doesn't necessarily have to do with you being good at graphic design or not. It's
Mhm.
just, I don't know. Yeah, I saw the clarification. It doesn't change my opinion.
Yep.
It doesn't change mine
Still icky.
either.
Still icky.
I have a lot of, now that I'm scrolling through this
Feed.
account, because I
Yeah.
haven't done that, why, like, I'm questioning, like, why are we
Competing for prizes.
reposting Well, that, but like, why are we reposting random things? Like,
Mhm.
it feels strange to me.
Yep.
And like, I'm super happy that like, hey, we're supporting. Is this just a host? Like,
I'm gonna
I'm
go
just
look now.
confused.
I think there are a lot of hosts for this event. There's like, I feel like there's like been like 10. I don't
Oh
know.
shoot. Okay.
There literally
Yeah,
are
I'm
10,
also
yes. But
Wow.
also, okay, so
literally
I
10.
just looked. One of the girls that they reposted her deal, and I love this book, so like, I'm not gonna, but like, why are they reposting this publisher's marketplace deal on the main account? Like, it
Mhm.
just
Right.
feels very strange to me what they're doing with this platform.
Yeah. 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 It's not
Yeah.
professional.
Well, it just seems like the like pitch events, I think, shouldn't take themselves too seriously, especially if they're the kind that are just like started by querying authors for fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yep.
Like, let's be chill about it. Even stuff like Quest Pit, which is like super legit and lots of agents go to, doesn't take itself this seriously.
Yeah. So
Because
anyway,
again, cold querying can
Yeah.
always just do that.
Yep. And don't pay anybody for graphics for a pitch event. Just learn to do it yourself. Unless, of course, you're just rolling in cash.
Ask your friends for help.
Yep.
and watch out
Exactly.
for AI. That's all I'll say about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
And roll on back to episode 2 of our podcast where we talk about pitch events. You can get a lot more bang for your buck from Anna, our pitch event expert.
Yep.
Yep.
For free. But my main tip will be just do it if you want to. It's for fun.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get my agent from a pitch event.
Nope. I think Zilla did, but that was
I
it.
did, but I'm hoping I would have gotten her anyway. So
Yeah. I don't think the pitch event really makes that much of a difference, honestly, especially considering how long it was between when you submitted and when she actually read it. I don't think she's
Yeah.
thinking about the pitch event at that point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that my agent at least like looked at some of the pitch events I did and like it just like didn't even see my pitch anywhere. So
Yeah.
it's like it just stuff gets buried. There's so much outside of your control,
Mhm.
and it's you should be doing it as a fun thing because it's kind of a major time suck.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts we have on our publishing tea du jour?
That was
No.
kind of one where it kind of got to me a little bit.
Yeah. People
Yeah.
don't act right, and I would love for you all to act right. Let us know what you think in the comments. You can find us on Instagram, Substack, all that wonderful stuff. This is the end of season 1.
We
Woo!
did it.
Yep.
Aw.
You've already told us because we would love to start recording season 2, but we would love to hear what you want included for season 2. If there's any topics you want us to talk about, things like that. So again, Substack, Instagram, we would love to hear from you because again, is there anything you would like us to talk about? I am hopeful maybe for season 2 we can talk a little bit more about like sub a little bit because more of us will be on sub. We'll see. Maybe that'll be season 3. We'll talk about it eventually when we're allowed, but publishing makes you keep a lot of secrets. But we will get there. Thank you for joining us for season 1. We hope you have had a great time, and we will be recording season 2 as soon as we can. And stay tuned to our Instagram and our Substack for when season 2 will be dropping.
Right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in.